Good afternoon. If Jeff was standing between this group and the end of their day, I'm really in that place. But I think we have a really interesting story to tell about Pitney Bowes. I work in our product development organization, so this is about go-to-market product, what we offer our clients, services we offer to our clients. And I'm responsible for really 3 areas of the organization. It's this e-commerce service offering that we're developing. It's what we call our strategic foundational technologies, which is a set of investments our corporation's making in technology to help power the transformation of our products and offerings to clients. And then lastly, I'm responsible for our user experience, so the interaction design, the visual design, how our products present themselves to our clients. Pitney Bowes is a global technology company. We're probably best known for our mail and metering solutions, but we actually power literally billions of transactions, and these transactions are both physical and digital, and we do that in an increasingly complex and borderless world of commerce. We have solutions and products across a wide range of areas. We have a customer information management platform. This is a combination of being able to bring customer data together, do joins of that data to understand relationships between one system and another system and their representation of your client. It's the ability to augment that data with a spatial context or augment that data with quality operations. And it's the ability to then present that data back to the business in a more consistent view of client. We have location intelligence technology within our portfolio. Our location intelligence offerings are a combination of geospatial information software, so we have desktop GIS mapping. We have enterprise location intelligence that sits and connects to clients' ERP systems and augments their record of the client with a spatial context, gives them a view of the client within a demographic. It's used by property and casualty insurance companies to do credit risk scoring. It's used in the retail sector to target clients for marketing campaigns. So wide range of enterprise uses. And most recently, we've gotten a lot of uptake and adoption of our location-based services for social media. So we are underneath some of the largest social media companies in the world, powering your location-based check-in, providing a context with reverse geocoding to tell that organization what you're close to, so you can make that pick on the list. We have customer engagement solutions. These software products help manage inbound and outbound communication between an organization and their clients. We have our shipping and mailing solutions that, again, we're probably best known for in the mailing space with our mail and metering that we offer to SMB. And we have a global e-commerce offering that I want to talk to today that is helping simplify the process of connecting sellers and buyers across different national boundaries. So we really think of this as a solution to remove the complexity from cross-border commerce. Today we have large clients like eBay that plug our APIs into their platform, and we provide a combination of both software services and transportation services to help these merchants and marketplaces sell across border very, very seamlessly. And by seamlessly, I mean we take the friction out of the process. So from the seller side, that means we have software services that can automatically take product catalog entries and classify them with harmonized standard tariff codes so that we can know what that commodity is. And we can do that with a combination of parsing free text descriptions of goods and applying machine learning to create a classification. We can also provide a quote for that good shipped from US to one of 64 countries outbound today. And that quote is inclusive of duties, taxes, customs, brokerage fees. And we can do that real time as someone's browsing a shopping cart online. And we do it with such confidence that the quote is guaranteed. The buyer is never going to pay more than what we quote at time of checkout. And so that takes a lot of uncertainty. If you're a buyer in a foreign country today, a lot of uncertainty in terms of buying cross-border. We take that uncertainty out of the equation. We also can do the hazmat, the restricted goods screening on those goods based on that classification. So we can provide that service either with our cross-border full solution or as a separate capability. We have a set of complementary transportation services. So let's imagine a buyer in England sees something on eBay that they want to purchase, and they go through and they process the transaction. We actually make it very easy for the seller to then fulfill that. We've given the buyer a solid quote. The seller simply ships the good to our hub that we operate here in the US. And in the hub, we process the good and do a goods inspection. We go through a weighing, a transportation, scan events, dimensional capture. So we augment the record of that good at the hub. We label it for last mile delivery. We containerize it. We use international line haul to bring it into country, and we hand it off to final mile carriers. And as a combination of that software and transportation service, we have a very compelling offering today for online retailers looking to extend their offering beyond the US domestic market into international markets. We've also now gone UK outbound, so we're UK outbound to another 20 countries. So we're building out this asset-free transportation network, and we have these software services. Now, what's the challenge that we're facing? Our system is composed of a multitude of separate applications to provide these software services and transportation tracking. Across those systems, there's a multitude of data sources, and the executive team trying to manage the profitability of this supply chain of parcels really is constrained by the reporting, or was constrained by the reporting at the beginning of last year. They were getting a fixed set of canned reports. They were using those reports to make fairly critical business decisions, operational decisions about the profitability of each of these outbound lanes. The operations teams and product teams, this is client support, the groups trying to help our clients succeed, relying very heavily on that information set. But again, it's a bit fractured across subsystems at this time. And we just saw a lot of manual effort spent analyzing the reports to drive actionable insights. And what we wanted to provide was the ability to answer some key questions. We wanted to be able to integrate the disparate data coming from these systems into a single view. And we wanted to make that data then available to multiple stakeholders. And so we embarked on a project over the last 10 months of putting a system into production to do just that. And I want to tell you a little bit about that story and how we solved this problem and some of the takeaways and learnings. The ultimate goal here and why this is relevant to the supply chain is around this parcel status, SLA achievement, being able to drill down and look at the number of participants we have in our carrier network and where's the network performing and where are we not, and how do we react to that, and how do we provide the right level of client care. I'm going to let this slide build out. I described this a bit, but the general gist of this is sellers are shipping their parcel to our hub. So a buyer buys something online. The seller is going to fulfill the order. It could be a marketplace like eBay. It could be one of the other 40 retailers we have on our platform. The seller ships the goods out to our hub, and in parallel with the goods arriving at our hub, a set of information is coming to the hub. So we have tracking status coming into the hub, as well as the data that we collected at the time of the transaction. When that data arrives, it goes through a receiving process. We ensure we've got the right HS classification. We've done the export compliance. We make sure we can ship this from the hub. We make sure the destination country can receive this. We've done the relabeling the parcel for international delivery. We've collected a lot of tracking data through the hub. We have operators with ring scanners and belt transports and weighing systems. So there's a lot of information being collected talking about how parcels are moving through our hub, how well we're doing at moving them, and quite honestly, whether they're getting in and out within the SLAs we've prescribed. Those goods then are containerized. They're pushed to country through an international line haul. And when they arrive in country, we have a broker clear them through customs and hand them off to an agent in market, agent or carrier, and the carrier then handles that last mile delivery. All this is done without us owning any of the assets or transportation, but we're one of the features of our platform is to provide back a canonical view of tracking. Right? So what where is this parcel across this entire network? How well have we aggregated that data? Can we provide that visibility to both the merchants that we're working with that are selling through our platform, as well as the buyers and sellers that are operating within their environments? So to dive into the tracking event just a bit. That's all right. I'll talk to it. Briefly, you saw on the screen, an image that shows kind of a convergence of data. We have hub processing data, which is kind of the IoT side of this. There's wireless ring scanners, people walking around the facility, collecting data about incoming parcels. There's a number of belt transports, weighing systems, weighing platforms. There's workstations there for the operators that are measuring parcels and doing inspections. And in parallel with that, we have a large amount of carrier data coming into the same platform. And we're going to see this build again. That data is brought together through our systems, and we're trying to provide, again, that canonical view of how does that parcel look to the end receiver, the recipient, the buyer, and again, how does the merchant get visibility to how well we're processing their parcels and whether they're within SLA. I'm going to click ahead here. So the challenge was, how do we provide that reporting? How do we bring this together in a central database? I want to talk a bit about Pitney Bowes and the way we're solving problems like this today. So our approach is that increasingly we're seeing a progression of the industry, from software and hardware products through an information layer. So clients today don't necessarily want to buy a software or hardware product. They're really trying to buy an information or really trying to buy an outcome from us. They're trying to buy that service from us. And we're seeing a progression of the technology from the ability to deliver them a physical disk with software on it or a physical hardware product and have them figure out how to integrate and create value, through to web delivery of that, through mobile delivery, and increasingly the product context is that convergence. It's the people, the machines, the things, the logistics. It's the entire solution space that they're looking for us to put a wrapper around. And so we've set out on a technology agenda that's really using a combination of machine-to-machine technology to collect and source data from existing products as well as new products we're bringing to the market. We're trying to consistently bring a data lake or data fabric to that data through big data platforms. We're trying to make information services available on top of the big data platform through API management. So we have strategic teams in each of these areas looking at our product spaces and talking about how we transform products in this context to help create these outcomes. On top of the data or information layer, we've got teams focused on analytics. So once you have this information, how do you put the data to work to create those outcomes? And we've actually got a number of production machine learning technologies that are using that data to solve problems that would have been solved through human effort previously, such as the harmonized standard classification problem. We're solving that through machine learning technology. And so this strategy is really one of moving beyond physical product and moving beyond the delivery of software, hardware products we expect clients to integrate. The strategy is really moving to what's the outcome they're looking for, and how do we have a solution stack that lets our clients buy that outcome from us and lets us provide that to them. And how do we migrate every area of the business I described that Pitney Bowes has through that journey and then up this stack. So it's a journey from the lower left to the upper right that we've been on. So in that context, I want to talk a little bit about this problem. So we've got a number of application data sources in our cross-border system. They're disparate sources, and like any business with disparate sources, you say, well, geez, I'm going to need a data warehouse. I've got to pull all this data into a reporting system so that I can report out the KPIs the business is really interested in. And we did the standard view of creating dimensions and facts around that data. And we identified with the business the KPI dashboards they'd like to see. So we went through that same process many organizations go through when they're looking at these application data sources. But we took a bit of a different tact in terms of how we're going to build this warehouse. And we did it in the context of this prior slide. Our goal was to build a warehouse using a set of technologies that would let us move to the outcomes we want to derive long term. And so we've actually put this warehouse together using a big data technology stack. So we've gone and taken all our source databases, and we're actually sourcing the data through a combination of Scoop and Flume, Oozie workflows. We're pushing all of this into a Hadoop file system. So all of this data is getting denormalized and pushed into an HDFS, and we're using the big data technology to bring this data together so that we can then process it out to a data warehouse. Now, the tactic here is one that will allow us, we feel, to get at the predictive analytics, machine learning that we want to do on the same data set and do that in subsequent phases of the project. But we realized just going to the warehouse was not going to allow us to get at some of the real-time analytics, the stream processing, the real-time alerting and decisioning we want to be able to make on this data set. When a parcel is going to be delayed, we want eventing and alerting based on that data. We don't want that data to then get pushed to a warehouse on some job cycle and then some kind of late-stage alert that we can't react to be the only action we can take. So this was a very deliberate approach to getting comfortable with big data, bringing big data into the context of solving this problem, and using it in a sense to get at the data warehouse problem, but set us up for next steps. And we've been very successful. We were using a combination of both Jaspersoft and Tableau in the reporting off of this warehouse. And at this point, this is a live in production solution. And we are able to provide really pretty compelling dashboards out to the business that are interactive, drill down, and give them much greater flexibility to use and employ this data than we had just 10 months ago. This is an example of a dashboard. This is sample data, but what we've provided them now is a view of what's in transit shipped forward from a hub. We have 2 hubs operating now, so they can look at either hub or both hubs. They can look at all the kind of work in progress, and they can look at the status of that work in real time. So what's been delivered within SLA, what's delivered but was out of SLA, what's undelivered, and then within undelivered, what still has the potential of making an SLA. And that kind of visibility is fantastic for the customer support team, right? They can do outbound, they can reach out to clients and say, listen, this parcel's been delayed, and we're telling you ahead of time the delay is there, this is the reason. We can drill down across the data sets by partner. So which of the partners on our platform do we want to look at, and what are the status of their parcels? We can look at the carriers that are operating in our asset-free transportation network and say, well, how's that carrier performing? Is that the issue? We can look at this country by country. So outbound to these 64 countries, we can look at the delivery to any one of them and say, what's the performance in that country? And we have multiple carriers working for us delivering within that market. So it's providing the ability for that self-service analytics. The business has the ability to go into this tool, select the filters, create this reporting, and do all of this, as they want, near real time. It's all become a self-service delivery. I want to talk to you a little bit about the learnings, because I think this is maybe, 10 months in. This is probably, some pretty valuable learning. I think it could help many folks in the room if you're embarking on kind of a data aggregation, big data program in this space. The first is the janitor work, as we call it, as the New York Times called it in an article in August. It's extensive. It's extensive and expensive. Pulling these data sources together through this technology and bringing it into an environment that you can compute on it probably represented 80% of the investment on the project. It is where you will put your money in the first time you go through this. The plus side is we've got this data now in this environment, and we are innovating incredibly quickly with the analytics on top of that data. So that was a one-time sourcing challenge. It required a lot of muscle to get through the activity, but we have started to generate a tremendous amount of upside value on that data, and we're doing that very, very quickly now with our innovation teams. The whole problem of having disparate systems and doing the denormalization, resolving duplicate data across systems, this is not unlike bringing data together for an ERP project or similar. That's work you're going to have to do, and it ties into that data janitor work. Incremental data feeds into a Hadoop cluster from relational databases can be a challenge. If you don't have the right timestamps, if you don't have the right change data capture within your database systems, you are going to have challenges properly bringing that data into the Hadoop file system and doing it in a high integrity way. We've worked our way through that, and we've got a lot of learnings. I'd be happy to talk to anybody either offline or via my email about that, and I could connect you to members of my team. We gained a lot of insight around Hadoop cluster sizing, planning, costing. We picked a modest scale project for this, and has given our team a lot of confidence in how to use this technology, how to size this technology. It's been a great kickoff project for some of the work we're doing in big data. And we're also anticipating this as a shared infrastructure. So we have a data lake architecture. We expect multiple business units to continue to contribute data to this environment. And so we're also working through how do you share an infrastructure like this, and how do you charge it back out to the broader business. And maybe the last point is particularly compelling for organizations that are involved in product development. Product development it's a real time. It's like basketball. Things are moving all the time. There's not a lot of time between plays. So your systems are constantly changing. You're constantly adding features and functions to the software you're delivering to your clients. That means you have to isolate this data aggregation from the data systems that are being sourced by the product, because the schemas within the product are constantly changing. So it's really critical in this environment to abstract yourself away from the schemas, and we did that probably later than we should have. We didn't recognize it initially, but we caught it very quickly, and that abstraction layer has allowed us to continue to advance the underlying systems without breaking the data ingestion that's taking place today. So just in conclusion, I won't hit each one of these, but we do have a Hadoop-based production big data solution. We've got a data lake architecture, and we're integrating multiple data sources across our business. And it's a big accomplishment from us. It's great to see this. We've built a lot of acumen about this technology in a very short period of time. We've got very responsive data queries and real-time analytics happening on top of that data. We've got great web accessible dashboards. I can tell you that the business wanted something that looked app-like. They wanted great looking dashboards. They didn't want something that looked crusty. And we've been able to use products that really provide, great interactive analytics. And that's a very important, I think it's an important dimension and outcome from this project. The dashboard users have interactive ability. They can drill down themselves. This is self-service. We've got great definitions now of all this data. We've got one great data model. Everybody knows what the data definitions are across the system. And as I said, we've kicked off several projects that are sitting on top of this first effort. And the analytics that we're doing now, some of the work we're doing with machine learning, some of the work we're trying to do with some predictions around parcels, it's really exciting to see how quickly that work can progress now that this foundational layer has been put in place. So you really do get a lot of velocity and a lot of autonomy with teams once you've gone through this process, and that's been a great benefit. And we've been able to leverage the broader Pitney Bowes technology set. So our location intelligence has been used to geocode all the points, to cleanse all the addresses. So we've been able to leverage a lot of internal capability, and we're starting to see a real synthesis between the location intelligence and the cross-border e-commerce. And we see these two plays increasingly synergistic, which is just another great outcome from this work. We've been able to start doing some demographic segmentation, deriving some location-based insights about transactions, the type of transactions that are happening globally. We're starting to get some real insight into these markets. And back to driving outcomes for our clients want uplift. They want exposing their goods and services to the global market to create uplift in their sales. And we think through this kind of data processing, this kind of focus on analytics, this unlocking the information layer, we're going to be able to go back to them with analytics and insight offerings that will create the outcome they're looking for, which is probably the best outcome that we could have for both them and Pitney Bowes. So that's what I had for you today. Thank you for the time. I My email is up here. If anyone wants to email me, I'd love to make some connections, and if I can help your efforts in any way, I will. Thank you.